All right, let's have a look back at last night's Monday Night Football game. The New Orleans Saints dominated the game. The New Orleans Saints took the Vikings apart in most every phase. The problem is when you turn it over, I don't care if you're on the road, at home, or in the parking lot, you're going to lose. When you lay the ball on the ground 4 times, you throw a couple interceptions, you get a field goal blocked for a touchdown, you miss field goals, you're not going to win. And the Saints, I mean, they ran it fine. Reggie Bush had a monster night, 2 punt returns for touchdowns. Drew Brees over 300 yards again and a touchdown pass, turned it over, but also he kept him. I mean, Drew Brees can throw it. I mean, he can overcome his interceptions, but they can't overcome fumbles, and you can't overcome block kicks, and you can't overcome just stupid plays and penalties. Those things will kill a football team, and they killed New Orleans last night. Now, there's sometimes when you say a team just got beat. Well, New Orleans beat themselves a lot last night. And then Gus Frerotte hanging in there on taking a couple shots to the chin, the old wily veteran, taking a couple shots to the chin and delivering the football. A lot of respect for him. While I don't believe that this team would go much further with Tavares Jackson, at least Gus Frerotte right now gives you an unbelievable, more of a chance, and the ability to stand in there and deliver the football and make you respect the pass, which you have never had to do in the last 2 or 3 years with the Minnesota Vikings. And it used to be you always had to respect them when Cunningham and Jeff George and Brad Johnson, Warren Moon. I mean, you had to respect the pass. The Vikings, that's the one thing that's going to keep them out of the playoffs, is their inability to throw it. But Gus Frerotte makes it better. Even though he's a veteran, standing there, he proved to me his toughness. He gets it. Now it's just a matter of can he withstand this. And he got knocked out of the game, came back in, threw a touchdown pass, was 4 for 4 on a drive. A very, very productive night for Gus Frerotte in the teeth of a pretty doggone good defense last night. And the Saints are upgrading. Even though they're struggling right now and they're in a chase mode with the Carolinas and Atlanta's better, Tampa's better, is it the Saints now, defense is better, and they did it without Cedric Ellis. They shut down Adrian Peterson. If I were to tell you that Reggie Bush was returning 2 punts, they were at home, and 2 punts for touchdowns, the Saints were at home, they were playing against the Vikings team who had trouble throwing the football, and Adrian Peterson was shut down, you'd say guaranteed victory for the Saints. Turnovers and penalties will kill you. It cost the Saints a football game. Now they're in a chase mode. Big for the Vikings because in a very, very weak, I mean, when you talk about the Packers losing 3 in a row, Detroit can't beat anybody, Chicago's better, but the Vikings are hanging around now, and they didn't play really good enough football to win, but that's not true. They played good enough, and Ryan Longwell kicks the field goal. What they did is it's not just the Saints, but the Vikings did a good job of forcing fumbles. And Antoine Winfield, who I still think is as physical a player we have in this league, a smallish corner who's lights out and has played great not only in the run game but in the pass game. The Vikings defense can play. If their passing game continues to step up, they'll be in a lot of games. And they did this without their horse Adrian Peterson dominating the football game. A bad loss for the New Orleans Saints, but a huge win to go on the road for the Minnesota Vikings and try to keep pace. And they're in the NFC North. Should be a fun run. We've got some teams that are playing awful bad football this year, and we've got some teams that are playing really, really good. If you're an in-betweener, you got a chance. But some of these teams like Detroit, you start to wonder if they shouldn't fold it up and go home. But the Vikings and the Saints, hang around because in 3 weeks, guess what? They could be right back on top. I'm Sean Salisbury for Open Sports. See you right here as we preview all the games all week long. We'll also talk about our quarterback on Wednesday and see who we're going to break down this week.
So you think you can tackle a pro? There's only one way to find out. Click on fantasy at opensports.com.